Ooh, the darkest stem in that bunch. It just drives me nuts. I love it so much. Hello and welcome back. Today I'm showing you how I make my signature ONYX arrangement. This is the first signature arrangement that I wanted to make for my collection because at the time I was like, there are no black floral arrangements. And the way that I envisioned this, I thought black with flowers is incredibly chic because it's not just a flat black, there's nuance and depth to the color. And so usually it has like a very deep plum burgundy hue to it, and then the overall tone of it is black. So if you want to see how I'm making these little bundles of black tea leaves, go ahead and click the video in the upper right hand corner. It's a very thorough breakdown of how I do this. And this is a technique that I developed specifically to make this arrangement. What I was just showing you there is saving the wire cuttings from these 22 gauge wires. 22 gauge is the perfect gauge for this type of work. I've found that anything thinner or thicker just does not work. 22 gauge is the best for this particular type of work. I cut all of the tea leaves on both sides so that it creates two strips of ribbon-like leaves, and then I bundle them together, and it is an intensely labor-intense handwork technique. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour for my small to medium size arrangement, which this one is. And then to design the arrangement, it takes about another 45 minutes to an hour. So total, the small size ONYX takes anywhere from about 2 to 2.5 hours to make. And that does not include, of course, the shopping for the materials, processing the materials the day or two before the arrangement. So overall, this is a very labor-intensive arrangement, and that's just the way I like it. This is my favorite arrangement. I want basically every arrangement I make to look like this, but I understand that not everybody wants this type of hyper-contemporary, like very compact silhouette. So of course I offer more wild arrangements, but when we're talking about what I really love making, this is it. Like this is it forever. You could do this also with green tea leaves and many other different types of hardy foliage varieties. With all of the other flowers that go into this arrangement, they all kind of die out at the same time. And as you can see, this foliage is not being submerged in water, so technically it's out of water for the duration of its life. And because it's a very hardy green, it has that waxy outer exterior, it really retains moisture. It doesn't need water source to live as long as the fresh cut flowers live in this arrangement. So I'm just showing here. Save those wire cuttings because I use those to pin for moss when I'm doing like orchid planters. So save your materials. You can watch how to make a decorative orchid planter up to the right here. So first flower element that I'm going in with is a black ball dahlia. This is a compact style black dahlia. And the undertone of this is burgundy, really stunning in certain lights. Some of the blooms had really almost a black appearance to them. Extremely striking variety and perfect for this arrangement. When processing dahlias, you're going to want to use extremely hot or boiling water. That's what they like. It helps them to drink. And just submerge the ends of the stems in about 2 inches of water, let them process, and then you can design as you normally would after that. and that'll help the dahlias last a little bit longer. You'll probably get another day or two of life, which for a short-lived flower, that is a definite like extra but necessary step to take in processing this flower so you get the most out of it. I'm going in with this flower first because it's the largest, and also it has the thinnest stem and also one of the hardiest and easiest stems to go in. So because I have that black tea leaf base down, now adding in those dahlia is really going to give more shape to this arrangement. And as you can see, using the shape of this dahlia to extend the volume of this arrangement a little bit more out. So the arrangement now, the silhouette, is looking more around the shape that the whole arrangement is going to look, if that makes sense. So using my Victorinox florist knife to cut all of the ends of these stems, as well as my Zenport shears, extremely important tools in my kit. Now we're using black Ranunculus. Didn't come with a name, but the most popular, almost black variety Ranunculus on the market are Burgundy and Viola, and Cluny Nerone. Cluny Nerone is a Dutch product that is a bit more expensive, and because Ranunculus are still kind of in season, they're not, $30 a bunch wholesale. They're around $15-16 for 10 stems. So a local dark Ranunculus that you can get, the names are usually Burgundy or Viola. So beautiful. Don't know if you saw that clip there, but I was just staring at them. When you have backlight on these deep plum flowers, it's my favorite thing to do. Truly, I have taken entire days to sit and meditate with these flowers. It is my favorite pastime. I look at them in the light and it's like an incredible burgundy rainbow. You get a spectrum of color from like deep cherry red to plum to pink, and every single stem is nuanced and unique. So it's such an experience. Like, if you like to meditate, try meditating with flowers. Just look at the color, and especially with these plum flowers, have them backlit so that you can see the full spectrum of color that's really happening there. So special. See this variety? Too pink. That was, oh my God. And this one, I think this was, the darkest stem in that bunch. It just drives me nuts. I love it so much. This is my favorite arrangement, and I really love using these dark Ranunculus as one of the highlights of this arrangement. So that other stem obviously was a little bit too pink, and thankfully there was only one stem out of, I think like I got two bunches. So that's good. The bunches did come with several broken heads, so I think, overall, I think I got about 16 stems into this arrangement, which worked out perfect. So spectacular. This one was a little bit more brown. Don't know if you can see, but if you look closely, maybe pause the video, you can see that there are brown, like soft, nude beige striations on the petals. Seriously, it's my favorite thing in the world. I am obsessed. I hope you can see why this arrangement is so labor intensive, but once you have that black tea leaf down, it's actually quite easy to then start plugging in with your flowers. So I think I got 2 bunches, is that correct? Yeah, 2 bunches of every type of flower that went into this arrangement. So 2 bunches, but 10 stems of dahlia, because they come in 5 stem bunches, 2 bunches or 20 stems of ranunculus, 2 bunches of calla lily that you'll see coming up here, and just 1 bunch of the black scabiosa. Oh no. This was the darkest one. What? Oh my God. The life it gives me, truly, like my soul is at rest with these flowers. They carry a lot of peaceful energy with them. I hope you feel that in watching this video. So like I mentioned earlier, that other ONYX, I think it was the ONYX nude tutorial, I go in depth as to how I make this arrangement. And again, this technique is mine. I developed it and it's my signature. So I don't know. I hope I'm not giving away my secrets by sharing this, which I obviously am, but as a flower shop, I don't usually see that as being a feasible technique to use in a hustle and bustle environment. So I don't know, whatever. I guess it's, if people end up using it, that's what it is. So now I'm going in with the calla. And as you can see here, I am just ever so slightly leaving these a little bit more elevated than the rest of the flowers, so it gives more texture, more dimension, and continues to bring that silhouette slightly more out. These stems are incredibly hard, as you can see here, to get in, because once all of the stuff goes into this chicken wire grid, because calla lily stems are so delicate, it's just a little bit more of a difficult flower to get in. I perhaps could have went in with those first, but I really wanted to get my first several layers down so that I see how the arrangement is looking. And then because calla lilies look actually so similar to these black tea leaves, I think it's important to get the other flowers in so that you can really demarcate where the callas will stand out so that they don't just disappear into the foliage, because it's very easy for that to do, and then it just would be useless. Like from a financial standpoint, like the amount of money you're spending on black calla lilies versus black tea leaves is like 5 times more the amount. So you really want to make sure, not just from a design perspective, but from a financial perspective, that these really stand out so that you're not just wasting them. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave them below for me. And if you have enjoyed this video thus far, please go ahead and like, subscribe, push the notification bell. Really helps this channel and helps other people who are looking for this type of content to find me. If you're in the LA area and you want to send the ONYX arrangement, go ahead and shop this arrangement at the link below. My website is linked there. I have a 2-day minimum requirement for all orders, so just know that before ordering. I'm not a same-day service. This takes time to make, in addition to all the other orders that are on the line. So here's a little trick. If calla lily is not positioned in a way that you find beneficial for how you want to put it into your arrangement, you can, and this is a little bit gross, but all the florists do it, the old school technique, give your hand a little, like in between your thumb and pointer finger, a little bit of a lick, and then run that calla lily on that part of your hand, if that makes sense, to change the shape. If you need an in-depth tutorial on how to do this, let me know and I will show you in another video. This is the final flower in this arrangement. This is scabiosa, and I am obsessed with this. It looks like velvet. The color, the texture, it's truly like a sumptuous, I have no other description for it. It looks like velvet. They're so special. And this particular variety has a little bit of white pollen as the accent, and it's just such a cute, tiny little piece of contrast for this all black arrangement, and it gives it just a little bit more texture and interest. These stems are incredibly thin as well as sturdy, so it's really good as a finishing flower because of that reason. It's very easy to get into the arrangement. So meaning once you have a bunch of stems already into the vase, it's just very easy to get in there. And if you've been doing flowers or you're kind of playing around with flowers, you will understand what I'm talking about. There is an order in which all flowers go into these pave style arrangements, because if you put an extremely delicate flower in first, it won't have the strength to stand up. And yeah, there's just so much nuance. So knowing that this flower is the final flower in this arrangement just makes sense because of specifically that stem. So this style arrangement takes a lot of tweaking as well. What I don't really show in this video is how much I'm tweaking as I'm going. Flowers move around as you're designing, and unless you nail it, which is incredibly difficult, like all of these stems are going down all the way to the bottom of the vase, and unless you nail exactly the position, it's extremely difficult. You're gonna have to tweak flowers. Here's the final element that I'm going in with. This is when I'm setting up my tea leaves, I make 2 different batches. One batch of those folded and binded bunches, that's the first layer, and then the finishing layer, which is this like scalloped ribbon-like texture. And again, I go in depth in how I do that in my ONYX nude arrangement. And also remembering to save the ends of these wires for your moss pinning. Everything can be used and recycled. I don't like to throw materials away. I've had the same bunch of 22 gauge wire for probably double the amount of time than I would have if I just threw these little scraps away, because I use all of those for other projects, not just pinning moss, but all types of stuff. But for me, mostly pinning moss, because a lot of my clients like subscription orchids. So that's another thing. If you're in the LA area and you want a subscription, I do subscription arrangements on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, whatever makes you happy. And then orchids, I do on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, depending on your environment and how often you want that refreshed. For my luxury, like fashion clients, those get rotated out every month on the dot, on schedule. So finishing this arrangement with finishing touch in my continuous fine mist spray bottle, this is the way to do it. I transfer that finishing touch formula into the fine mist spray bottle because A, finer mist, B, just a better container. That finishing touch bottle was really had multiple of them have broken and just fallen apart, so I really prefer that fine mist. It's a continuous mist spray bottle, super easy to use. Here is the final look. What do you think of the ONYX arrangement? Would you send this to someone that you love? Who would you send it to? All of the people that buy this arrangement are super styly people, man. Like, I am so grateful for all of the people that support this work because it allows me to create what I love for people that I love. Super grateful for all my clients. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and also shopping those links below. If you have any questions, leave them below for me, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.